Well, a nice gift for the Orioles this year would be seeing some more promise from their pitching prospects down on the farm. Here's Steve Melewski with some names to keep an eye on.
I think he really put himself on the map late last year, say mid-July on, when they bumped him to AAA, pitched better with the Tides than he actually did with the Bay Sox, helped him win that Jim Palmer Award. I mean, he's a guy who throws mid-90s, can touch the high 90s. The numbers were all good. I mean, his OPS against was 570 for the year. That's impressive. I think the one number that he would like to improve on is command and control, and he even cited that when we interviewed him after he won the Palmer Award. But he's currently their highest rated prospect among pitchers. He's number 10, which shows you how stacked this is still with position players. If you look at the top 20 MLB pipeline, there's only 4 pitchers. 16 to 4 is a big ratio. But I think the bigger point, Brendan, is let's remember Tampa Bay right now, their projected starting 5, I believe, has 0 homegrown pitchers, which will shock a lot of people. And several teams that were in the playoffs didn't have a 3 or 4 homegrown of their 5. You just want to get good pitching. When you get it in trade, you get it internationally, you develop it on your own. And some of these guys we're going to talk about today were acquired by trades like McDermott. So he had a great finish. It had to be so exciting to the Orioles how well he finished this year at AAA.
And another guy, as you mentioned, not a homegrown talent, has kind of been on a parallel track to Chase McDermott, and that's Cade Povich. Some have said that he maybe has the highest upside of any of the Orioles pitching prospects. The strikeout numbers have been there. The other numbers, the ERA, things like that, not so much. What does Cade Povich need to do in 2024 to get back on the right track?
I think he's got to improve those numbers. It was a little surprising to see him pitch to a 5 ERA, and it stayed 5 or a little above. When he went to AAA, he almost had the opposite impact of McDermott, as his numbers got a little worse when he moved up. But again, this is a very polished lefty. It's a high draft pick, 3rd round. A lot of polish in his game. He was very impressive in spring training. He was one of the most impressive pitchers we saw in spring. He just looked so in control of himself with his delivery. He doesn't throw as hard as these other guys. He's a low 90s, can touch mid-90s. The changeup is really his best secondary, but he's got a lot of weapons. So the Orioles, I'm sure, did not get down on him in any way, shape, or form. We can all look at a 5 ERA and say that's got to get better, but I think there's a great chance that it will.
Yeah, he strikes out a lot of guys. That tends to be a good indicator of what you can do in the big leagues. We've seen a lot of McDermott. We've seen a lot of Povich. One guy that we haven't seen a lot of is Seth Johnson. He was maybe the highest touted pitching prospect that the Orioles got at the trade deadline a couple of years ago when they brought in McDermott and Povich, but got Tommy John surgery. And we've only seen him in a handful of games at the back end of last year. What are you expecting from Seth Johnson this season?
He's a wild card because of the Tommy John surgery and the fact the guy threw 10 innings at mostly lower levels, an inning or 2 here or there very late in the year. So the good news, I think, was he got back pitching in games. And now maybe he can have some build-up through this winter off season, and then maybe when he goes into 2024, he's a full go. How many innings can they put on him? We're going to see. But he's on the 40-man roster, so I think that could accelerate the plan here a little bit. The Orioles can't say, well, we can think about 2025. They're not going to rush him or push him beyond what he's capable of. But if he's throwing well early on, he could move fast. This is a guy who was touching 98 with big secondaries before the surgery, which happened in 2022. He was number 6 in the Rays system when the Orioles acquired him. So he was already highly regarded. He still is a wild card, I think, but a good wild card to have because he came back to pitch healthy. So now let's see how far he can go, how long it takes him to get his full stuff back.